Hello friends, welcome to our digital blogger. Today we are going to talk about an interesting topic. Stockbrokers that provide you low brokerage and offer high exposure across segments. In India, there are multiple stockbrokers that do that, and in this video we will be talking about those specific stockbrokers that offer you decent exposure at reasonable brokerage charges. Let's get started. So friends, before we move ahead, we need to understand one thing. What exactly is exposure? For people, especially who are beginners, small investors who don't know the concept, in a sense, it's kind of a loan that is provided by a stockbroker to their clients at a specific rate of return. So there is a percentage of interest involved in this transaction. For example, in case you have an account balance of 1 lakh rupees and you want to trade, for example, till up to 5 lakh rupees at intraday level. So you can use that concept of exposure in that particular situation. But you have to be very cautious, very careful while doing that, because unfortunately, in case things don't work out the way you want them to, the stock market doesn't react you were thinking, then obviously you need to pay back the money that you owned these particular stockbrokers along with the interest that was set up initially. So you have to be very sure, you have to know where exactly you're putting up the money and what kind of exposure you can expect from your stockbroker, and correspondingly you have to use that amount for your trading. Now we will talk about a list of stockbrokers who provide you a decent range of exposure or leverage across multiple segments, and then in case this is one of your preferences, you can go ahead and make a choice out of these stockbrokers. One thing you need to remember, this is not a ranking, it's just a list that has come out of research we have done across multiple stockbrokers present in the country we have. Let's get started with this list now. So we will start with equity intraday. Especially people who are looking to make quick gains, intraday is a segment that can do that for you. So there are a bunch of stockbrokers, primarily discount brokers, who offer you decent exposure with low brokerage rates. We start with Wisdom Capital. So the brokerage is as low as 9 rupees per executed order. It does not depend on the kind of transaction value you are putting up. So irrespective whether you are trading for 1 lakh, 10 lakh, 1 crore, 1000 rupees, your brokerage at the end of the day for that particular order is going to be 9 rupees. But on top of it, you can go ahead and take an exposure value of up to 40 times. For example, in case your trading account balance is 10,000, you can trade up to 4 lakh rupees with that particular trading account. However, it depends on a lot of factors. It depends on your trading patterns. It depends on the kind of profits or losses you have made in the stock market recently. It kind of depends on how the overall trend has been fluctuating in your sense as well. So there are a lot of parameters that come into picture, but the leverage can go as high as 40 times for equity intraday in case of Wisdom Capital. There is TradeSmart Online, another discount broker. They charge you 15 rupees per executed order, or they'll charge you 0.07% of the trade value. It really depends on the kind of brokerage plan you've selected. They've got another plan which is a fixed rate subscription plan for a month, where you don't need to worry about the number of transactions or the trade value. You need to pay a fixed rate for a month. So you can get this information from some of the other videos we have made. So brokerage is decent and leverage is also good at 30 times. It's also definitely a good number when you talk about other stockbrokers in India. SAS Online, it's an average stockbroker. Honestly, it's not great so much, it's okayish. It charges the same as Wisdom Capital does, 9 rupees or 0.01% per executed order. So depending on your trade value, if you're trading for a lower capital, your brokerage can be even less than 9 rupees. They give you exposure up to 20 times, which is also decent. Trade Genie, another discount broker, go with 20 rupees or 0.01, slightly expensive than the ones we discussed before, and they will also give you 20 times of exposure. And finally we have Upstocks, which was also called RKSV. They'll charge you brokerage of 20 rupees flat for intraday, and leverage is also 20 times. So anything that is more than 10 to 15 times an intraday is good for you. You don't necessarily have to use this high value of broker leverage exposure values, because these are super high values. You have to be very cautious, or you have to be an expert or a heavy trader to understand the kind of risk you are taking while doing that. So if you do understand these things, then yes, go ahead and use those bunch of values we are listed here, but you can use a safe range of exposure which is applicable to you specifically as a trader. Now let's talk about delivery. Now delivery is one segment where not many stockbrokers provide much of an exposure. So delivery is something when you buy a stock today and you sell it tomorrow or later. So it's more like an investment rather than trading. And in equity delivery, again, we have a similar set of stockbrokers. We have a couple of additions as well. Wisdom Capital and SAS Online, as we discussed, charge you a nominal rate of 9 rupees, and they give you similar sort of leverages as well. 40 times for equity delivery is very, very high. So at the same time, it's very, very risky as well. So you have to be sure. I have to talk out with your executive when you are going to open an account with them, and you have to understand what kind of risks are in place. Wisdom Capital is not known for its trading platforms. There are a bunch of concerns with it, so you can watch some of the other videos we have made on these kind of stockbrokers to understand the negatives, the positives, and other concerns, and then make a choice. Then SAS Online is also reasonable at 20 times for leverage. Now we have 5paisa. Now this is the trading arm of discount trading arm of IIFL India Infoline. It charges you 10 rupees per executed order and gives you an exposure up to 4 times, which is a very safe range, very average sort of a range when it comes to stockbrokers in India. Aditya Birla Money and Nirmal Bang. Now these are full service stockbrokers. They will charge you a specific percentage of your trade capital. For example, in case you trade for, let's say, 1 lakh rupees, your brokerage in any case is going to be 300 in case of Aditya Birla because it's 0.3% of your trade value, and 200 for Nirmal Bang, irrespective whether you make money or not. Now, and the kind of exposure they give are also in the range of what 5paisa used to do. So not so high kind of exposure values, but honestly there is not much of an option there. Not many stockbrokers provide you good delivery exposure like they do. But Aditya Birla Money and Nirmal Bang do provide you research reports and recommendations, so there are positives as well. That's why we are again repeating that do not make your choice just based on these values. You have to look into other aspects, and all of these aspects are covered in some of the videos we have done. Similarly, we have values for futures. So if you want to trade in futures aggressively, then similar set of stockbrokers come into picture. Wisdom Capital, Trade Smart Online, SAS Online, Trade Genie Upstocks. So all of these are discount brokers again, and will charge you nominal brokerage rates and give you a decent sort of exposure at the same time. SAS Online and Wisdom Capital are a couple of stockbrokers that provide you consistently high exposure values across the segments as we have seen in this video. If you move ahead and talk about option segment, the value for leverage goes back to 40 times for Wisdom Capital, and otherwise there's not much of a change when you look at the overall table. You can just pause the video here if you want to look at the details for option segment. Then we have currency. Now currency is not like the forex trading we're talking about. We are talking about the currency trading on the national stock exchange, NSE and BSE within India. So for that again we have 5paisa and Bonanza Online as a newcomer for this segment. Again, this is a good value at 0.0025% for currency segment, which is kind of very low brokerage rate. But again, you won't get anywhere close to what kind of exposure what you can get in forex trading. So these are very, very nominal numbers, but if you want, you can pick them. Then finally we have commodity segments. A lot of stockbrokers trade in commodities, and these again discount brokers provide you an average to decent amount of exposure across the segment. If you look at Wisdom Capital, again it is around 20 times, and similarly others around in the range of 3 to 5 times. Now we have done a thorough check of different segments, and we looked at around 7 to 8 or maybe 10 stockbrokers overall that come in the top 5. We have more than that. There is a detailed article if you want to have a look. So we are using ourdigitalblogger.com for reference here. So as you can see, there is a list of around 10 stockbrokers, and we've covered all of them within this particular article, and we tried to figure out what particular stockbroker is giving what value of exposure or offering what set of brokerage rate for its clients. Now coming back to the presentation, finally we would like to cover again the same point. Now we have looked at multiple stockbrokers here, including full service and discount brokers, and there is obviously something negative, something positive associated with all of these stockbrokers. For example, SAS Online, as we discussed, or Wisdom Capital, as we discussed, are some of the stockbrokers who do not have a decent performing mobile app all trading platforms across devices. TradeSmart Online is a decent stockbroker. They've got decent customer service going for them, along with the high performing trading platforms. TradeGenie and Upstocks are also high performing discount stockbrokers. We will again suggest you to check out or probably search within YouTube the kind of videos we have done on all of these stockbrokers. Have an understanding of the negatives and positives, and then make a choice. Going along with the exposure value, that has to be there because that's probably one of your preference. Then along with that, you can probably knuckle down some of the other preferences you might have while you're going to make this choice. So this is it for the video. And in case you want some sort of third-party advice or help in getting to know what kind of stockbroker goes exactly with your preferences, what you can do is check out this link, ourdigitalblogger.com/free callback brokerage choice. We will put out this link in the description of the video, and you can put your preferences there, put in your details there, and we will set up a couple of callbacks for you absolutely free. So that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching it. We hope you liked it. In case you did, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button. We'll really appreciate that. You can also subscribe to our channel, A Digital Blogger, at YouTube for similar videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching the video again. Bye bye.